Last time out, a 20-7 win over UAlbany, a game that will likely be remembered as the first of many Joey Spallina games.
Breakout game for Spallina with 5 goals, very efficient on 7 shots. He's known for his strength and body control, and it's on full display here. It was on full display against UAlbany. Great speed, great touch inside. Very talented goal scorer.
John, you mentioned the efficiency. Really silenced his critics after scoring just 1 goal on 15 shots in the opener against Vermont.
Well, you open up Twitter and everyone's talking about how, hey, Spallina had 1 goal on 15 shots. He was the top overall recruit. Well, he took that, compartmentalized all that negative buzz, took it into the game against UAlbany, then scored 5 goals, did all of the same things he did against Vermont, Johnny. The only difference was he put the ball in the back of the net.
Said he actually took less shots in practice this week to help with that. As far as the netminders, Dawson Friars, a veteran between the pipes for the Crusaders.
He really increased his leadership during the offseason, had 11 saves against Merrimack. I think the big thing for Dawson Friars is he needs his defense to help him out a little bit, especially in this game today against an explosive Syracuse offense.
For the Cuse, Will Mark, the LIU transfer, he's lived up to every bit of the hype.
Preseason All-American, NEC All-Defensive player, great leadership skills just like Dawson Friars on the other side, but he takes up a big portion of the goal, makes the saves he's supposed to, and steals goals from the other team as well.
Johnny Ragusa and Connor DePiro, the 2 face-off specialists, at the Block S logo to get us underway. Syracuse and Holy Cross in game number 3 of the year. A Crusaders squad still in search of that first win of the season, just 1-13 a year ago, and started out 0-11. It's been a struggle for J.L. Reppert's squad to find their footing and some consistency.
Well, J.L. Reppert also considers this really his second season. He joined the squad in January of 2021, but that was still kind of the COVID year, if you will. So he considers this to be the second season at the helm of Holy Cross, and this will be interesting to see how far the Crusaders have come last year to this year. Of course, that 23-goal loss 1 year ago.
Cameron Magalotti, a first-line midi, one of the veterans on this team, playing catch with his fellow midi, TJ Lynch. A stout orange defense that's held both opponents so far this year to under 10 goals. Cradaville trying to create the separation, nobody home. J.L. Reppert, you mentioned it, John, officially season number 3, but he counts it as number 2 with 2021 and all those COVID alterations.
And he can't be happy with that start. You talk about the string of games that Syracuse has won when it holds opponents to 10 goals or less. You're not going to score many goals today if you can't catch and pass, and you have self-inflicted wounds like that one.
So the Orange offense will set up shop now for the first time today, coming off a 20-goal outburst against the Great Danes a game ago.
This Holy Cross defense susceptible to ball watching. I think if Syracuse moves it well, moves it quick, they'll have success today.
Hiltz tried to sting it top right corner, but a little too much mustard behind that one. Head coach Gary Gate for Syracuse in his second year at the helm. Maybe the best lacrosse player to ever do it, and now brings that wisdom to the sidelines for this SU men's squad. A centering feed. There's a snipe off the post. Luke Roa liked his look. Syracuse will keep, though, in a shot clock reset as it did hit that pipe.
How could you hate that? 15-yard step down straight away again. Holy Cross. Ball watching. Losing men. They got to communicate better.
Burt Whistle now. Trying to create the separation. Shoots, and a nice save made by Friars. Dawson Friars, the veteran netminder, up to the task early, but now Syracuse can reset. They do so with Leo, the freshman. Brings it middle. Now gets it right back, shoots, and scores! Finn Thompson, the freshman, starts the party for the Orange. SU on the board first.
Canadian to Canadian, Alex Simmons continuing to do what he does best. He catches on the wing. Thompson cuts from X. A lot of eye candy with this Syracuse offense. He's left wide open, 5 yards away from Cage. That cannot happen from the Holy Cross standpoint. That is bread and butter. Easy pickings for Finn Thompson.
Thompson did not have a single point in the win over UAlbany last time out after he had 3 points in the opener against Vermont. A goal and 2 assists. That has to feel good to get back in on the score sheet early.
And in that game against Vermont, it seemed like Thompson and Simmons had instant chemistry together, and you saw it again right there.
Of course, Owen Hiltz with the ball right now, another Canadian and a starter for this team. Bodes well for head coach Gary Gait, who's Canadian himself.
That's right.
Really likes to implement that style into this game.
And it really is truly a style. The Canadians simply just have better stick skills. They can pass and catch with both hands very well.
Here's Rowe, the freshman, on the wing, shoots, and just couldn't tuck it in.
Well, he helped out Dawson Friars there. That shot has to go far pipe. Much too easy.
Holy Cross can clear, and they do just that. Really only the second true offensive possession of the day thus far for the Crusaders. A Crusaders team last in the Patriot League a year ago in goals per game.
And Johnny, one area I think the Crusaders need to attack today is short stick defensive midi for Syracuse, because Brandon Avila's not playing today. But with that said, this Syracuse coaching staff loves the rest of the members of that team midi room.
Boyle, the captain and the Vermont transfer, plays it back for Baker Redding. One of two Reddings on this team. His brother Hayes, a captain. Here's McIntyre, 8 goals on the season so far. That by far leads this Crusaders program.
Great slide there, great communication between Clary and Kakemo.
Henry Sheehan trying to make something happen. All for naught though, and Syracuse takes over possession.
2 great defensive possessions for Syracuse. The first one resulted in a turnover from Holy Cross. That one there as well. The players are moving well. They're talking out the slides. They're resetting well. It's been a clinic so far this season for Coach Petramala's squad.
This is the 3rd straight year the Crusaders have come to the Dome, and only the 3rd ever matchup between the two teams. And last year, let's just say Syracuse had their way, a 28-5 victory in the season opener. Leo rotates it behind for Spallina. Joey gets it right back. Concocting the play for this Syracuse offense, the quarterback behind Gage.
I like this set, look out.
There's a shot right into the stick of Dawson, who recovers. Spallina tried to hound him, but the netminder cool, calm, and collected. Shoved up ahead. Magalotti couldn't get there, and now Syracuse can sit on it defensively courtesy of Landon Clary. Clary's someone who head coach Gary Gait really praised in the past week for his performance against UAlbany. Has stepped up as one of, if not the top cover guy in terms of the close defenders early on for the Orange. He and Nick Kakemo, the premier long poles.
We knew that Kakemo could force those turnovers. Clary was more of a question mark, but he's really answered the bell so far this season, transitioning from LSM to close D.
Griffin Cook, the veteran, tries to go top shelf, and Friars is there. Number 99 in purple denies Cook. But Syracuse still on it now with Joey Spallina, the Mount Sinai native. Wearing the number 22, the first SU freshman to be donned the historic 22 since the early 2000s. Kirst, the Lehigh transfer, draws the double. Spallina shoots and scores. Oh, a pretty bouncer from number 22 in orange and white.
Seems like the game plan for Syracuse so far is to work everything out of X. Cole Kirst walks it down the wing, and Holy Cross just simply loses Spallina, who creeps along his circle, fakes once, and scores down low. Very pretty, very well done by Syracuse. And Spallina, the awareness to see the back of his defender's head, knowing he's going to be open, catching and finishing.
Had the chance to ask Coach Gait just how much pressure Joey Spallina has been under and how the #1 recruit in the nation is handling that pressure relative to Gait himself and the pressure that he felt when he was a player here at Syracuse University. He joked with us and said, Joey's under way more pressure than I ever was. But that pressure not phasing the young, poised freshman.
And Johnny, a great way to beat pressure is to work hard, and that's what Spallina does. That's what he's known for by everybody that has ever come in contact with him.
Matt Major, the Long Island product out of Chaminade High School, a storied lacrosse school on Long Island in Mineola. Crusaders taking their time. They reset with TJ Lynch. The senior brings it up ahead.
This is where to attack today. Find that short stick matchup from up top and go.
Nothing there for Lynch. Has to give it off to the far side now. Here comes Dean Donato, one of the returning leading scorers, and a miscommunication yet again for this Crusaders offense.
miscommunication, and another turnover. Holy Cross hasn't even had a good look on goal yet, and really it's just a byproduct of what it's doing to itself, not passing and catching, rushing things, and panicking.
You know who won't complain about that, though, John, is Will Mark.
Certainly.
Mark,
although he loves to make saves.
Transfer. Yeah, he does. He's been poised so far through the first 2 games. Comes over, of course, from LIU and takes the spot in net between the pipes. A spot that was a question mark for Syracuse last year. The tandem of Bobby Gavin and Harrison Thompson in fluctuation all year a season ago. Tried to find Burt Whistle on that lefty doorstep, but the pass from Thompson wasn't there. Orange can reset, though, with 30 on the shot clock.
So far, we've seen a lot of this two-man game behind cage, and it's dangerous.
Spallina tried to go doorstep. Roa couldn't haul it in, and now can the Crusaders get going in transition? Hayes Redding, the captain, brings Leo with him. And now McIntyre can orchestrate the offense.
Got to match up here. New guys coming on. Got to give credit to Michael Leo there. Offensive midi, but came back and back-checked defensively to avoid any kind of a fast break opportunity for Holy Cross. There were times last year when guys like Brandon Curry, Tucker Dordovic would not do that in some of the other middies, and it would lead to fast break goals and transition goals. But clearly, Leo, the awareness, and that's being taught by Coach Petramala.
Haven't really seen the Orange defense be tested yet today. McIntyre going back and forth. Likes his matchup. Couldn't get the stick free, so dumps it off for Boyle.
Couldn't get his stick free because Syracuse continues to switch and move very well.
A hounding hit put on by Landon Clary yet again, and right into the stick of Mark.
You remember that first game against Vermont when he just absolutely demolished the guy? I mean, he has that physicality. That's what you need, too, sliding from the crease. You need to go with bad intentions to put body on body and get that ball on the ground, or at least affect the shot.
John, you mentioned Tucker Dordovic, Brendan Curry, 2 of the headliners for Syracuse a season ago, no longer here. Throw Owen Siebold in that conversation as well, Mikey Berkman. The top 4 scorers, it's a new era of Cuse lacrosse.
It's more explosive era, too, though, because everybody that's on the field right now, the attackmen and the middies, can score individually and set up their teammates as well.
Spallina barely moving, just surveying. There's Hiltz. He stings it. Spallina to Hiltz, a thing of beauty. Get used to that one, too.
But Coach Petramala's defense has been up to that test, and it's forcing Holy Cross to make some mistakes, have some bad passes, and turn the ball over. Holy Cross hasn't had a shot on goal yet, Johnny.
No shots on goal for the Crusaders. John, is that more of a testament to this Syracuse defense, or Holy Cross just unable to finish?
I'd say a little bit of both, but there's been times that Holy Cross has wanted to penetrate, but Syracuse's defense has slid well, taken possession away. And on top of that, SU is forcing the turnovers itself to begin with by playing very pressure-heavy defensively.
Right back on the offensive front for the Orange after 3 quick tallies, looking to add to it. Syracuse team trying to build off just a 4-10 season a year ago. Michael Leo just a couple centimeters too high, but no sweat for the Orange. They'll stay on it.
I want to see Leo do more of that. He's known for his deceptive speed. You saw it right there. As a D-mid, you're like, all right, this guy's not coming that fast, right? Next thing you know, he's right by you, and he's got a good look on cage.
Hiltz behind the back pass for Thompson. He scores. What a find from Owen Hiltz, and Finn Thompson just had to tap it in.
Well, Thompson's known to like the dirty parts on the lacrosse field, and that's one of them right there in the slot. What a behind-the-back feed to Thompson, and his family back home in Canada will love that shot. That's known as the Canadian finish, using his right hand, going across body, and surprising Dawson Friars with a 5-hole finish.
Second goal of the day for Thompson, but how about the feed from Owen Hiltz? Of course, missed all of last year with an injury suffered in the preseason. Safe to say, John, he hasn't missed a beat and is back to full speed.
He's flashy, but he's flashy while being smart. So it looks awesome, and it pretty much always works. And that's what this Pat March offense is predicated upon, creativity and freedom, so he can make passes and plays like that.
Tapiro, a win at the X for the Crusaders, who can now try and punch back. It's been all SU, all first quarter. We'll see if Thomas McIntyre can change that.
Just watch this, though. Look how far out Syracuse is playing defensively. They're not giving Holy Cross really any kind of free space inside 30 yards.
Carter Rice draped all over his man. Now here's McIntyre trying to create some separation from Clary, and whistle goes against McIntyre. Hughes out in transition. Here come the Orange. Alexo over to the far side. Now Rice. Simmons coming off a 4-assist game in the win over UAlbany. Credited offensive coordinator Pat March for allowing them to play free, play creatively, and said, hey, look, that's not me. It's my teammates and the coaching.
Little hidden ball trick there, Johnny. Did you miss that? Everybody thought Griffin Cook had the ball on the far side. Flagged down, by the way. But meanwhile, while all that was happening, a Syracuse player ripped it from the top, and nobody even knew where it came from.
I believe it was Simmons himself.
Yeah.
That's a nice trick to have in your back pocket, no?
Well, we saw it against Vermont. It didn't work. Almost did there.
Number 9 blue, that's a technical, 30 seconds.
So technical against Holy Cross. They had too many men on the field, so that's an illegal procedure penalty exactly. Here's that hidden ball trick. Let's go back to that. So throws it back up to himself.
Nope,
Griffin Cook acts like he takes it, and then he just rips the shot. I don't think Dawson Friars knew where the ball was.
Orange having fun. Here they go again. Thompson, number 3. You can't cool him off. Syracuse cashes in, and the Orange are now up 5.
No need for the hidden ball trick there. It's just Finn Thompson with a missile coming right at you, Dawson Friars. The Orange scored 4 extra man goals against UAlbany. You just cannot give him that much space defensively. Syracuse spreading out the 5 Holy Cross defenders, and then Thompson ripping it 5-hole once again.
Someone who head coach Gary Gate calls very slick. He's just a laxer. That's what Coach Gate said. He's had some midfield experience. Of course, attacking experience as well. Thompson himself said, hey, it's all just offense. Doesn't matter what he's listed as. The creativity, the ability to finish. And that is on full display here today.
Especially in the man-up offense, there really are no positions. All you've got is 6 guys in the field that want to score goals. And Thompson recognizes that he has that open space. Again, he sees the backs of Holy Cross defenders' heads, says, hey, I'm open, I'll take that, and score. Thank you very much.
So what can the Crusaders do? A Holy Cross team that returns 12 seniors. A healthy mix of veterans and newbies. And when you're coming off a 1-13 year, definitely helps to have that experience. Now it's just about translating it to wins. McIntyre behind net like he's been all day. Tries to go low on Mark. Did Mark stop it? It's in. Holy Cross will take it. Mark thought he had it. Officials say no. And it's a goal for McIntyre, his 9th of the season, to cut the deficit to 4.
I thought Holy Cross had to go to McIntyre. He runs this offense. Nice spin move. He gets Landon Clary caught on the net for just a second, and then it trickles in past the left foot of Will Mark. That's a great move. He earned about a half a step. He used that and scored in rhythm. That's well done from Thomas McIntyre. Holy Cross needs more from him.
How frustrating is that for someone like Mark, who, after all, got the stick on it, just couldn't corral?
It's tough because it was such a slow dribbler, and you almost wish that you had 2 sticks so you could reach out and grab that one. But you got to give all the credit in the world to McIntyre there. He knows his team needs a goal, puts on the brakes, beats Clary around the net, and then the wherewithal to finish.
McIntyre, who had 16 goals a season ago in only 7 games, only started 4. And the Crusaders right back on the offensive front, but not before a timeout. A hot start for the Orange, and Holy Cross in need of answers in a hurry. Of course, the 28-5 result here a year ago. A different team, a new team on both sides for both the Orange and the Crusaders. But Finn Thompson, he's one of those newbies, and he's found a lot of success so far today.
Out goes a guy like Brendan Curry. In comes a guy like Finn Thompson, who can do so many different things. He cuts well, he catches well, and he can finish really well. The Canadian there, he was pointless against UAlbany, but he's already been a big member of this offense. And the man up in the 6-on-6, he's a very talented player. That's why he was so highly touted as a freshman.
Thompson, one of 22 new players on this Syracuse team. Head coach Gary Gates saying, look, so many of these freshmen, they're not coming in as freshmen. They're coming in as really solid lacrosse players, and almost pays no mind to that class designation.
And this is a sport where freshmen can come in and steal the spotlight early. It's not like, say, football, where you kind of redshirt, you kind of get a sense, you get acclimated to the speed of the game. No, these guys play club lacrosse. They play very high-level high school lacrosse. So when they come to the college level, if you're a 4- or 5-star recruit, you're usually ready to go in year one. That's the case for Joey Spallina. That's the case for Finn Thompson. And there hasn't been a whole lot of freshmen really leading the way for this Syracuse team, minus those two and then Michael Leo. But the guys that were at the upper echelon, top tier of that Power 100 class have really made an early impact alongside all of those returners and then the guys that transferred in that are veterans.
Thompson, someone who was initially penciled in to go to Michigan back in 2020, but a call from Gary Gate asking him to come to the Cuse was something he called a chance he didn't want to give up. What can the Crusaders do here? Right back to McIntyre. Why not? The bread and butter of this offense. Lynch couldn't haul it in, and now the Cuse out on the break yet again. Clary, full head of steam. One more, shoots, and another save made.
That's something Coach Gate talked about this week when we spoke on the phone with him, that he wants his wing guys, Alex Simmons, Owen Hiltz, to be more efficient when shooting the ball. And I think Simmons could have done a better job with the placement there. That was a high-to-high shot. Yeah, it didn't go stick side, but I think you'd like to see 19 and White bounce it or shoot it lower, or maybe change the platform of where his shot's coming from instead of going straight high-to-high, maybe high-to-low.
Ball in the stick of McIntyre. This time he's operating from in front of the net rather than behind it.
Great check by Alexo.
Donano took a shot, and now Alexo trying to scoop the loose ball.
Coach Petramala does not like that one.
It's the kind of game that Coach Petramala tries to instill upon his defenders. And Sam Alexo, someone who is no stranger to laying the big hit. The only question here is, will it cost the Cuse rather than help them?
I believe they changed the call. So a flag was down, and as soon as Syracuse picked it up and earned possession, the play was blown dead. The officials talked about it. Now they're changing the call.
It's going to be white ball. How did it get loose? You'll count.
Let's have one more look at this. So Alexo goes over the head here, which is very heady of him. Gets stick on stick, then kind of holds Dean Donano, who has the ball there.
His stick got tied up in his arm. Yeah, couldn't get free.
So I thought you might get a penalty for holding, but that's not the case, and instead it's a penalty on Holy Cross. Or rather, check that, he's just standing up in the box. Thought he was taking a knee. It's still 6-on-6. It's Syracuse possession. No penalty either way. I think there was a case there for Donano maybe to earn that holding infraction, but none given.
Another empty-handed possession for the Crusaders. Carter Rice whistle before Syracuse could set up shop with Spallina near the goal. Dawson Fryer is out from his crease. Up ahead for Connor Boyle. Boyle, one of the captains. Can't keep the ball, though, but he is bailed out.
A couple of things that Syracuse wanted to improve on from game one to game two. Clearing and riding. The Orange went 25 of 25 on clears against the Great Danes and have forced a lot of turnovers since game one. You saw another one there that nearly resulted in a Syracuse possession. Sam Alexo and those attackers doing a great job keeping that pressure dialed up.
Kikemo, the cover man, now over to the far side for Boyle. Locates McIntyre, who has been locked up by Landon Clary all afternoon long so far. One more for Sheehan. There's the separation. Another miscue on a high pass.
Well, Holy Cross had a shot on the far side wing. Open man had a step down. Instead of shooting it, he passed it off. I thought he should have taken that one. When you can get a look like that, 15 yards, your hands are free, you got to take it.
Orange can take this to the end of the quarter if they so choose. No sense of urgency from Luke Roa. Orange will put the brakes on with Cole Kirst, the Lehigh transfer. He's played Holy Cross 3 times throughout his career with Lehigh in the Patriot League.
Watch out for Spallina behind.
Hiltz back for Kirst on the give and go. And there's Spallina. 5 on the timer. Hiltz. One more. Far side shot. Kirst is open. Shoots. And Friars makes the save as we hit triple zeros. Creativity on that offensive end for Syracuse. 5 goals in the first quarter. Gary Gait and company cruising. So far, the Orange trying to get out to that 3-0 start. Sitting pretty thus far. 5-1 Syracuse. Second quarter action coming up after the break. Back inside the JMA Wireless Dome, all Syracuse so far. An SU team trying to start the season 3-0, coming off a frustrating 4-10 campaign in year number 1 of the Gary Gait era. John, the Orange, no NCAA tournament for the first time since 2007, trying to get back to the big dance.
It was a very erratic season. It was the first season under head coach Gary Gait. Lost a lot of contributors from that team in 2020 that was so good. Then the COVID year kind of happened. 2021 was kind of up and down. This team had points last year where it looked good. They beat Duke here inside this building, but couldn't really find any kind of consistency. And were also limited last year in what they could do from an offensive standpoint. This year, you've got so much individual talent. Those very good freshmen like Finn Thompson and Joey Spallina, Alex Simmons as well coming in from the transfer portal, that allows you to open up your game and open up your offense. I think that's been the biggest difference from last year to this year.
The first 10-loss season in the 107-year history of the program. Something Orange fans are not used to say the least. But so far, 2023 off to a different narrative. Holy Cross wins this face-off. Johnny Racusa now just 2 for 7 on the day at the face-off X for the Orange. But it hasn't mattered all too much. A comfortable 5-1 lead for SU. Thomas McIntyre, the lone goal on the day for Holy Cross, wearing number 31 out there in purple and white right now. He's on the far side and receives the ball.
He beat Clary one-on-one for Max on that first goal. I think they got to go back to him. One thing Holy Cross needs to clean up is the turnovers. They had 9 in that first quarter.
McIntyre doesn't like the matchup with Clary, so dishes off for TJ Lynch. Right back for McIntyre now. Brings it out in front. Scrum for a loose ball. Shot goes high. Dean Donato let it rip. Tried to go low to high. Holy Cross stays on it though. No shot clock reset as it didn't hit the goalie or the pipe.
Nice adjustment using 2 men behind the goal to set some screens. Kind of just be a buffer, if you will, and allow for more distribution and space on the wings.
There's Lynch. A couple of hard checks. Now over to the far side. Tyler Marmo fresh into the game. Lynch trying to back down his man. Lets it fly, but not a high-quality look.
Not at all. That's not going to work. I think Holy Cross needs to move the ball more, and if they do so, move it more efficiently, avoiding those costly turnovers.
They do get a shot clock reset here. Back up to 60. And Donato to restart. Dean, the senior, and Wilton, Connecticut native. One of the more highly touted offensive players on this Crusaders team. One of those 12 returning seniors. Has it right now, trying to take Kamo to the rack.
Big ground ball here.
Who's the first to get there? It's the Crusaders. McIntyre getting involved on the loose ball. Right back for Donato. Goes to the doorstep and stings it. Dean Donato saying, I'll do it myself. And Holy Cross shaves the deficit to 3.
Not exactly how you draw it up for Holy Cross. It took Thomas McIntyre winning that ground ball near the 40-yard line to keep possession with Holy Cross. But then it finds its way to Dean Donato. He just simply beats Sam Alexo to the rack. Alexo chases stick. Donato puts the ball in the back of the net. That's great awareness from 14 in purple. You can tell he knows how to score goals.
Led the team in points last year. Entering today, though, only the 1 goal and 1 assist through the first 2 games of this season. Season highs a year ago, 19 goals, 17 assists. Someone who maybe hasn't been as flashy as a Thomas McIntyre in the early portion of this season, but definitely someone that can make you pay if you don't do your due diligence on it.
And it doesn't matter who you're playing, someone on Holy Cross or someone on, say, Virginia. If someone catches the ball like that, has the angle to cage, and has a step on you, they're going to score that goal. So if you're Sam Alexo, you need to do better of knowing what your positioning is and be between the man and the goal.
Nice feed and another score. Luke Roa, the freshman, left wide open and takes advantage.
Well, the assists just keep piling in for Syracuse. The off-ball movement, the off-ball cutting has been very good for SU. And I think that was actually Jackson Birtwistle, 9 in white, who made the cut, caught from Spallina. How the heck did he even get that pass through? Defender all up in his grill, still right in the wheelhouse for Birtwistle, and he puts it home.
So make it Birtwistle, not Roa, who gets the goal, but Birtwistle's someone who really burst on the scene in the back half of last year and one of the headliners entering 2023 among Syracuse's returners.
Had a hat trick against UAlbany, had a strong close to last season, and now is kind of playing the lacrosse that he likes to play. And that's not necessarily being a one-on-one dodger and the guy that's running the whole show. It's someone that's cutting off ball, catching, and finishing. That's Jackson Birtwistle's game. That's when he's at his best. That's what he's gotten to do this year because Syracuse has added the players it's needed to fill the other vacancies that Birtwistle kind of had to hold together last year.
Riding 6 straight multi-goal games dating back to last year as well. Sheehan behind the net for the Crusaders, going back and forth with Cradaville. Now up top, laser of a shot, but Will Marks scoops it out of thin air.
He makes bounce shots look so easy. Now, it might help that Syracuse plays on a turf surface rather than a grass, because sometimes those balls can take pretty weird bounces off the grass. But he locates the ball, he gets down on his knees and stops it.
Carter Rice thought about going coast to coast, but Fryer's up to speed.
Same thing. Fryer says, anything you do, Will Mark, I can do just as well. Another bounce shot save.
The Orange out in transition. Alexo up ahead for Carter Rice. Thinking about try number 2. Lefty doorstep. Spallina. Oh, that's too easy. The freshman puts the finishing touch on the Cuse's transition game.
Well, Spallina's been scoring that goal since he was 5 years old, and he's been wearing 22 his entire life. Gets positioning, buries his right shoulder, gets his hands free, and finds the bottom right. That's excellent transition offense from Syracuse, and Spallina puts the exclamation mark on it.
Someone who accumulated over 500 points during his high school career at Mount Sinai brings that talent over to Syracuse and instantly delivers. Holy Cross quick off a reset. Matt Major on the wing. They cycle it around for Cradaville. Kakemo didn't bite, so Cradaville dumps it off and now gets it right back. Crusaders team 0-8 in Patriot League play a year ago. Picked to finish 9 out of 9 in the preseason poll amongst Patriot League teams this year. Syracuse's only Patriot League opponent, though. The Orange 1-1 against that conference a year ago, beat Holy Cross and lost to Army.
Now, the Black Knights always give the ACC teams, but really anybody on the national scale, run for their money. Great teams the Black Knights have year after year out of the Patriot League.
Magalotti dancing his way around. Cradaville now zigzags up ahead. Orange defense operating like a closed fist so far. And there you see, Kakemo and Rosa take the ball away.
Nice adjacent slide by Kakemo. Rosa stays to close off the other side of that door. And it put the Holy Cross attacker in a situation where he had nowhere to go. Got a Syracuse player on one shoulder, another on the other. Put stick on stick, grab the ball. There you go. That's a great double team.
Here's Kirst. One of a couple of Syracuse captains, despite it being his first year with the team. Now Roa shoots and misses.
Holy Cross calls timeout.
J.L. Reppert wants to talk things over. His team down 7-2, still all orange. The SU offense having its way with Holy Cross.
the alley, took a spill, still had possession of the ball when he fell, so should be another extra man opportunity for Syracuse.
4-3, push, 30 seconds.
That's a bailout. That's terrible.
Sounds like Holy Cross didn't like that call.
Not a fan. Well, it's been that kind of first half so far for the Crusaders. Just couldn't catch a break. Syracuse 1 for 1 on extra man opportunities already today. Can they make it 2 for 2?
This unit's so fun to watch. Always ready to shoot. They'll also get a little flashy with some BTBs and whatnot passing-wise.
Birtwistle moved his stick before he watched the ball in. Rotated around for Spallina. Now Hiltz, don't often see him directly behind net.
This is called the wheel. Look out.
Goes back to his usual spot. Behind the back pass. Spallina catapults it in. Number 22 doing number 22 type things. It's 8-2 SU.
Well, we talked about how Pat March likes his players to be free and creative, but that one was a Pat March set. It's called the wheel. You got Michael Leo cutting through. Owen Hiltz replaces. Open man on goal line extended. That's Leo. One more over to Spallina. Bang, bang. Easy goal on the extra man.
At some point, it's got to be tough, right, John? Because you figure, okay, if you're Holy Cross, no way in the world can you leave number 22 that wide open, that close to the net.
Yep.
But Syracuse has so many options, especially when you're Holy Cross and you're a man down, like in that situation. It's a pick-your-poison type approach, no?
Well, you should never forget about Joey Spallina, but it's easy to when a guy like Leo cuts through, draws the attraction in the eyes of all the Holy Cross defenders, and it leaves somebody wide open back door, and that just happened to be Spallina there.
No one secures possession off of this face-off reset, so ball goes out of bounds. Syracuse closest to it, so the Orange can go right back on the offensive front as we approach halftime.
If you're a coach watching this game at home, that's a great set to use for your extra man offenses or even a player, young player growing up. So much ball movement, and really it's easy to teach. It moves like a wheel does on a car, right? You guys move around, you rotate, you fill, you take their position. It's really simple. All it takes is a little ball movement, communication, and practice.
We're back to even strength. Will that help Holy Cross? Kirst atop this Cuse offense, right back for Hiltz. Tried to go high to low, only found turf. Now on the reset, a scrum for a loose ball, and Friars is the first one on it.
Tough bounce for Syracuse because that ball was going to travel towards or maybe out of the sideline, but hit off the official instead and allowed Holy Cross to get the loose ball and end that Syracuse possession.
Crusaders only 2 goals so far on the day to 11 turnovers. It's been a head-scratching type performance offensively for Holy Cross. Still in search of that first win in the new year.
Just seems like they don't have much of an identity so far in this game. They're not really using McIntyre much as a Dodger as I thought they would, and the same goes for Donano.
Up top, a rifle of a shot, misses just wide. Mark tried to put the clamps down on it, and a whistle goes against Holy Cross.
So Mark had possession of that ball in the crease. Donano hit his stick, and you can't hit the stick of a goaltender when he has possession of the ball in the crease. That's why it's spit out. That's why it's Syracuse possession. And Will Mark going one-handed to grab that ball. He knew it wasn't going to go in, but he wanted possession of it. He's the one that prompted that illegal procedure and gives Syracuse possession. So that play not going to show up in the stat book as a save, but it leads to a Syracuse possession and maybe a goal, something that will show up in the stat book. That is why he was so highly touted in the transfer portal. Plays like that.
Orange right back to it. Nice ball fake for Trujillo. Draws 2 defenders. Down low. Oh, what a save, but flags fly everywhere. Point-blank range for Syracuse, just couldn't take advantage. It was Roa who let it fly. And we'll await the official ruling here.
2-2. Hold. 30 seconds.
So I think the illegal procedure there was when Simmons had the ball. And yeah, so he got his stick hung up in between Simmons' legs, kind of similar to what Sam Alexo did. And then Birtwistle had all the space in the world on the right side of the net, but bangs it off the cage of Dawson Friars. But easy call for the officials there. Simmons gets held. Now the Orange back on the man up.
Can SU take advantage? Finn Thompson already a hat trick to his name today. Right back for Spallina. Now Simmons coming off a 4-assist game. There's a fastball. It's in. Michael Leo, the freshman, pads SU's lead.
Second man-up goal of the season for Michael Leo. It's really pick your poison with this Syracuse extra man offense. Hiltz behind cage, throws it in front, and Leo wide open. Holy Cross just susceptible, I said it before, to the off-ball movement. J.L. Reppert knows it. He's probably tried to tell his unit to call out the cutters. They didn't do it there. Leo gets an easy goal right in front.
Reppert not a fan, but Leo takes advantage. A first-line mid. He scored his first career goal last game against UAlbany. Someone who maybe doesn't receive as much hype as someone like a Spallina or even a Thompson, but a very highly touted freshman in Leo, and for good reason.
Well, Coach Gate calls him an attackman at heart. He plays midi, but that's where an attacker will score right there. And to be a good attacker, you not only have to have good stick skills and know how to run an offense in terms of ball movement and whatnot, you also have to know how to get yourself open. That's what he did there. It makes it a lot easier when there's 6 attackers to 5 Holy Cross defenders.
Gate talked about how Pat March's positionless offense really benefits a guy like Leo, who is so speedy, so crafty. Spallina knows a thing or two about that. Couldn't find a teammate, though, on the dump down, and now Holy Cross trying to secure possession in transition. There's a ground ball scoop, and here comes the Crusader offense. Syracuse D back quick.
Look out.
Alexo in to help out. Sticks fly, and the Orange take it away. Swarming defense from Sam Alexo and company.
Well, that's what we call a yard sale. Alexo coming in hot from the sideline. A double team from Syracuse leads to the takeaway. We just get a stoppage here because a Syracuse player, there's like Caden Cole, had his shoe off. So the Orange keep possession. But Coach Petromala's defense continues to put that ball on the deck, scoop it up, and take it away.
Talk about the transformation of that defense for Syracuse. Last year, nearly 15 goals per game allowed. That was 66 out of over 70 Division I teams. The Orange just 1-9 when allowing 14-plus goals. For all the talk that Coach Petro received last year, all the hype with him coming in, one of the best defensive players ever, it was a defense that fell flat. And this year, they appear to have it figured out.
And the biggest difference to me is communication.
Oh, behind the back shot just misses. The craftiness on full display yet again from the Orange and Jackson Birtwhistle.
Last year, the rotating cast of characters between the pipes for Syracuse. A lot of injuries defensively at SSDM, that short stick defensive midi and close defense. Doesn't help.
Thompson whips it in on Cage. Another save made. Dawson Fryer's doing everything he can to keep Holy Cross in this game, but another hard hit comes in transition, and the Cuse faithful not a fan.
That's Alex Simmons fighting for the loose ball near midfield. Too much contact fighting for that loose ball. And Hayes Redding draws the infraction. I think they're going to get him for that penalty because there was a lot of contact to the head, and they don't want that in the game anymore.
19 white, illegal body check to the head. 1 minute. Right? 1 minute. Stop. Get in the box.
So some frustration from the coaching standpoint on both sides in this first half so far.
Nice job by Redding to keep possession of the ball and kind of using a hockey skills, if you will, but then Simmons comes in and drops the hammer, but you can't do that in lacrosse. And now Holy Cross with a chance to score in the man up for really the first time they've had this opportunity this game. Could be a big injection of life for this offense to see one go between the pipes.
Gary Gate still trying to make sure everything is sorted out before play resumes.
Well, Coach Gate doesn't like it, neither does Coach Petro, because when they played back in the day, that probably was not a penalty. In fact, coaches probably encouraged that kind of contact and ferocity.
Not in 2023, today's state of lax. So Holy Cross does go on the man up. We'll see if they can take advantage, much like the Orange have. A quick shot on net, hits the post. Crusaders still on it. TJ Lynch there to corral and keep it on the offensive side of the field. Donato.
Matt Major had that last shot. He has it here, 4 in purple. 2-man-up goals this season. Keep an eye out for him.
Donato separation. Over for Lynch. Now Major. Syracuse defense holding true to their spots, and a nice interception. Kikemo picks it out of thin air. Textbook takeaway.
It is textbook because that's what you're taught as a defender playing in that man-down unit. When you're at the point, really when you're anywhere, keep your stick to the inside. Take away those passing lanes. That's what he did.
Michael Rincon does the same thing on the flip side for Holy Cross.
It's really hard to clear the ball when you're man down. Usually a shorty will just run it up the field, but Syracuse electing to do it a different way, but it leads to a turnover. The Orange, I believe, still man down here.
Shot was well wide. The Orange a perfect 25 for 25 on the clear last time out against UAlbany. Something that the Cuse really cleaned up after going just 17 for 24 against Vermont.
Didn't clear there, but did kill off that penalty, so back to full strength, and Coach Gate calls a timeout. Well done by that man-down unit, getting that turnover. Now I guess what you need to work on is clearing the ball man down, but no less. You'll take that.
The Orange, for what it's worth, 15 for 16 on clearing opportunities. That the first where they did not effectively get the ball into the offensive zone. A Syracuse team that, of course, is always part of a loaded Atlantic Coast Conference, and that is really no different this year, John.
I like Virginia as a favorite, not only to win the ACC, but win the title. Other than the Cavaliers, though, it's a very stacked conference. Notre Dame brings back a lot of pieces. The Kavanaugh brothers, Duke has Brennan O'Neill back as well. And then UNC and Syracuse towards the bottom. Two teams that did struggle at points last season, but are really teams that can also surprise some people this year. So top to bottom, Johnny, I don't think there's a weak link in the ACC this year, and that's typically how it is year to year in the ACC.
Syracuse, of course, its ACC opener. It comes in late February, relatively early, February 25th. To be exact, a home game right here against North Carolina before they get Duke inside the Dome the very next week. Before those two games, though, maybe an even tougher task in going on the road to play the Maryland Terrapins. John, that game next weekend.
Great game last year inside this building between those two squads. 14-10 the final score. And Syracuse going on the road for the first time. We'll see what kind of transition, what kind of carryover there is to what the Orange have done here in the JMA Dome versus on the road. 'Cause it's a different kind of style, it's a different kind of game, Johnny. It's a different environment.
While we're on the topic of scheduling, for what it's worth, Holy Cross playing its first 4 games of the season on the road. The Crusaders don't get a home game until nearly a month into the calendar, and for a team that went just 1-13 a year ago, that doesn't do them any favors. Can they score here? Mark vacuums it into the stick. Jason Lambert denied, and the Orange goalkeeper now ignites this transition game.
Might be the easiest save he makes all day. He wouldn't have even had to move. Could have been a wax kind of stick figure, if you will. He didn't have to move an inch. Stick side high right into his stick, man.
Can do that in his sweep. Here's Kirst. Comes over to Syracuse, receiving his master's in broadcast and digital journalism. Has covered SU sports teams all year and said after the win over UAlbany, it's so cool to now be on the other side of that. Spallina for Hiltz, now rotated around for Simmons as Syracuse plays catch. Spallina rifles it wide.
One thing I really like about this Syracuse offense is that it's not necessarily predicated on one player. More so ball movement and all 6 players getting involved, because you can have a game where your top player, your top goal scorer, has an off day. But what doesn't ever kind of rest or go away is ball movement.
Griffin Cook, the veteran, shoots, and Friars saves it.
Friars has been a bright spot for this Holy Cross team early, if nothing else.
How about the difference from Friars? Someone who was chased out of the game after just 1 quarter in the 28-5 contest here a year ago between these two teams. Looks like an entirely new goalie compared from 2022 to 2023.
Allowed 9 goals on 17 shots faced, only 3 saves, but has stopped bounce shots, point-blank range shots, step downs. He's done it all.
McIntyre on Clary. That's been a matchup to watch. Clary, relatively speaking, has bottled him up so far. Boyle taking Max Rosa closer to net. Kikemo poking away at Sheehan. Only 2 goals allowed all first half for a Syracuse team that held Vermont to only 5 total in the opener. McIntyre locates Sheehan, now to the middle, shoots well wide.
Nice cut by Henry Sheehan, getting some space off the screen, catching and shooting it relatively quickly. Kakemo about a step behind there, but did well to keep his stick kind of in his hands to affect that shot, make it go wide.
The Syracuse timeout comes with under 31 seconds to go on the timer in the first half. A game that has been all orange really right from the jump. If you're just joining us, Finn Thompson with the hat trick, Joey Spallina with the hat trick. And Spallina really just continues to improve and develop as this game goes on.
And he hasn't had to really do anything that's crazy today. He just cuts and gets open there in the feed from Cole Kirst. He's open once again on the fast break, uses his positioning and his good stick skills to stay open. Then on the extra man offense saying, hey, guys, I'm open. I'll catch and shoot and score. He's been very impressive fundamentally today. Hasn't had to be the superhero, but more of a guy that's going to take advantage of the opportunities allotted to him.
Someone who says his goal is to come in here and win 4 straight national championships.
Wow.
That's setting the bar pretty high, John.
Certainly. But, he's already wearing the number 22, Johnny, so he's already got those lofty expectations. He says, throw some more on there. Why not,
It's been all Syracuse so far. Holy Cross unable to muster much offensively whatsoever. Thomas McIntyre, Itali, and Dean Donato. Maybe the 2 players that, John, if I were to ask you pregame, hey, if we're here sitting at halftime, Holy Cross only has 2 goals, who are the 2 most likely candidates to have those goals? McIntyre and Donato, probably the first 2 guys that come to mind.
No, that's correct. I think Holy Cross needs more of a midfield presence. Donato technically plays midfield on that first line, but has a background playing attack. Thomas McIntyre is the X guy. I just don't know, after watching now about a half of Holy Cross lacrosse, I don't know what their identity is on offense. Is it shooting? Is it ball movement? Is it one-on-one dodging from X? We've seen them attack from a lot of different spaces, but with no to relatively low success. And that just might be a testament to Syracuse's defense, if nothing else.
Even down by 7 here, John, how much does that momentum factor in should the Crusaders tally 1 more heading into the break?
Certainly helps. Gives you some confidence going into the second half, but I think Syracuse is dialing up an aggressive approach here to take the ball away and score.
Can the Crusaders get 1 more before the buzzer? Donato and Lynch, another miscommunication, and another Crusaders turnover. Make it number 14 on the day for the purple and white.
That's a tally most teams have in a whole game, let alone a single half. Now Syracuse in a lightning situation, short time.
What can the Orange do here? Under 5 to go. Birtwistle lets it fly, and Friars makes the save.
Connor Schellenberg, other players at UVA and Duke, he belongs up there. He's a goal scorer. He's an offensive threat. He can score in many different ways. But I think his line mate, if you will, Joey Spallina, could be on the midseason Swartzen Award watch list.
Someone who, of course, entered the year not having played a game of collegiate lacrosse in Joey Spallina, but definitely could join that list come another couple of weeks as far as the midseason awards are concerned. So Syracuse gets this third quarter started up 9-2. Spallina himself and fellow freshman Finn Thompson each already with a hat trick in that first half. John, what sort of defensive adjustments does Holy Cross need to make if they want any shot at clawing their way back into this?
Well, with this Syracuse offense, it's very tough to make those adjustments, but the one thing I would say is better communication and stop ball watching.
Michael Leo, a nice spin move, but a great save made by Friars, who just ingested that ball.
One adjustment Holy Cross doesn't have to make is stopping shots, and that's all because of Dawson Friars. He's been very, very good changing platforms, making stops. Can't do that, though.
More saves than goals allowed on the afternoon so far for Friars. Orange trying to ignite that transition game. Tried to go double digits and make it number 10.
I hate to nitpick, but Simmons simply has to score. He's at a 17% shot percentage this year. That means 17% of the time he shoots the ball, it goes on goal. At Denver, he was above 33% in each of his last 2 seasons. That's something he needs to be better at to go along with his abilities distributing as the team's leader in assists.
Simmons may be the most highly touted transfer that Syracuse brings in this year. I think either he or Will Mark, the goalie, would enter that conversation. Hilt's on the doorstep. Friars meets him again. Ball is available, and the netminder scoops it up. How about Dawson Friars in net for Holy Cross? Here come the Crusaders in transition. Cradaville missed it wide.
Good stick by Syracuse defensively to ward off that fast break chance for Holy Cross. If not for that stick hitting in the shooting lane, that may have been a goal. Well done by Landon Clary with the awareness there. And also a great job by Holy Cross. Not scoring in transition, but recognizing the opportunity to hit the gas and go. I think they need to do more of that in this half because in terms of the 6-on-6 half-field offense, there wasn't much going.
TJ Lynch around a screen from Donano. No tallies for Lynch in that first half. Donano and McIntyre, the only two goal scorers on the day for the Crusaders. A Crusaders team that only has 7 players with goals all season. Not a ton of depth when it comes to points for this Crusaders squad.
And they really relied on McIntyre in the first couple of games to be the leader of this offense. He hasn't had many opportunities today because Syracuse's on-ball defense like that from Clary has been excellent.
Cradaville trying to join the party. Now over for Lynch. Donano in front of the cage. Orange defense holding true. Crusaders got to hurry, and Mark makes a save.
That's a clinic from Syracuse defensively, Johnny, from second 1 to second 80. Warding off any Holy Cross chance.
Alexo in transition. Maybe got a bit ahead of himself. We did see Sam Alexo score the first Syracuse goal of the season against Vermont on a similar sequence. A transition pole goal where he just reared back and said, try to stop my best shot. The Vermont netminder couldn't. Dawson Friars, though, evades a similar fate.
Alexo's very dangerous in transition because he's a great athlete. He played hockey as well in high school, and that's a game that is very similar to lacrosse and also very transition heavy.
Griffin Cook, the veteran, a lunging shot attempt. Friars up to the task on the recovery. Now to the doorstep, and Holy Cross escapes by the skin of their teeth.
Nice check by Spallina.
Who said this guy can only score goals?
There he is again.
Great transition defense from the Cuse.
That's why he was the #1 recruit. It's more than just scoring the goals. It's also about how good of a teammate are you, how well can you pass, but also what's your drive like. Spallina with the one-handed check to put the ball on the ground, sticks with the play and forces another takeaway.
Here come the Orange yet again. Cook tried to get his hands free and took a shot on the release, and Pat March says, whoa, no call there?
That ball ended up back in Syracuse's bench, actually in the first row of the stands. Crazy how that ball caromed.
Here comes Kirst, shoots and scores! The Lehigh transfer, Cole Kirst, getting involved in on the action, and Syracuse has hit double digits.
How about that from the Bernardsville, New Jersey native? I watched his film over the offseason when he announced his transfer to Syracuse. He's a big body guy, and he's got great hips. He can also score one-on-one. He's a lefty, gets to his strong hand, and he catches Dawson Friars guessing like it's a PK in soccer. He goes the wrong way and scores stick side high.
Gary Gates said Cole Kirst, someone who just fell into Syracuse's lap. A captain on this team, using his grad year and taking full advantage, has the Cuse up by 8.
He knew exactly what he wanted when he was hitting the B button there for that spin move. He wanted to get back to his left hand, earn a little bit of space, a crevice if you will, and let it rip.
Ragusa, a clean win at the faceoff dot. And now the Orange right back on offense. Burt Whistle gives off for Thompson, already 3 goals to his name today.
See if Leo goes here. He's got that speed.
There's Leo. Burst of speed. Shoots. And says, look what I found. Michael Leo scores for the Orange. It's 11-2 Syracuse.
That's room service for Syracuse. The Orange subbing in players. First it was Finn Thompson, then it was Michael Leo off the bench. Defender doesn't give him any kind of respect. Leo hits the afterburners and finds the top left corner.
turns on the Jets and then some. One of the speedier players on this Syracuse team. And Holy Cross learning that the hard way.
That's grade school stuff. It's just simple as, hey, I'm faster than you. I'll beat you from point A to point B. That's what he did.
Jordan Naso to take this face-off for Holy Cross. Naso has seen his fair share of action today. 4 for 6. He and Connor Tapiro, the tandem. And Naso comes from a family of face-off specialists that know a thing or two about securing possession. His brother Jake at Duke, an All-American. Syracuse will need to deal with him in a couple of weeks.
That's right. 60% career face-off win percentage for Jake over at Duke. And Jordan not too bad himself. 67% win percentage in high school.
Haven't seen a ton of Holy Cross on offense in this third quarter so far. But when the Crusaders are on offense, they want to get the ball to Thomas McIntyre.
That's great defense from Trujillo.
There's McIntyre up top, surveying. Locates Boyle. Cradaville had the doorstep, but the pass nowhere near his stick. McIntyre recovers. A Holy Cross team that coming into today had just 71 shots on goal. There's another, but Will Mark says, not on my watch.
One of the better looks Holy Cross has gotten today, and Will Mark is an eraser. He will clean up a bad slide, a late slide, a miscommunication. That's what he did right there. And the reason why he is an All-American goaltender and one of the best netminders in all the nation is because of how he can defend those bounce shots. I was getting into this earlier. It's the hardest shot to save in lacrosse, and he makes it look easy.
Hiltz behind net. Up top. Another shot. And Friars is there. Ball available, and Friars picks it out of thin air yet again. How about the junior in net for the Crusaders? 15 saves on the day. Orange in transition, or pardon me, Holy Cross in transition, but the Orange swarming defensively. Ball's available, and Nick Kikemo vacuums it up.
Holy Cross has not cleared the ball well in this game. Syracuse has done a great job on the ride, forcing those turnovers. The Crusaders now 8 of 14 when advancing the ball from the defensive half to the offensive half. That's not a good percentage. You want to be at 85, 90%. In that case, it'd probably be about 12 of 14, 13 of 14, not 8 of 14. You're not winning any lacrosse games doing that.
Burt Whistle rifles one in, and Friars is there. Just absorbs the ball as it gets tossed in towards him. Not the first time today we've seen that from Friars, and now the Crusaders out in open space. Clary there defensively. He and Caden Cole applying the pressure for the Cuse. Donano trying to get crafty on Leo. Now down low, Cradaville beats his man to his spot, but didn't have the angle. Lost the ball, and Syracuse takes it away. Add another turnover to the Holy Cross tally. They're now up to 18 on the afternoon.
And add another cause turnover to Landon Clary's resume. Great on-ball defense. That's what he's been known for so far this season. And a guy that's really come out of nowhere. All he did last year was assist that Tucker Dordovic Sports Center top 10 goal. Before that, he saw a little bit of time but dealt with injuries. This year, he's really come on strong early. He might be a candidate for most improved player from last year to this year for this Syracuse team.
A lot of Syracuse players have really taken a step in the right direction. As far as the guys that were here last year taking that next stride. Cursed someone who wasn't, though, a new face, and he has the ball now. No true sense of urgency, and why not with the Orange up by 9? Griffin Cook, the veteran, scoops up an available ball, but the Orange do have to hurry. 15 on the shot clock. Burt Whistle brings it far side. There's the centering feed. Whips it in on Cage, and a goal. It's Alex Simmons. The Denver transfer pushes the Cuse's lead to double digits.
Well, on Syracuse's last offensive possession, Simmons did.
Back inside the JMA Wireless Dome, Syracuse on top of Holy Cross by 10. It's 12-2. But, John, a chaotic weekend across the collegiate lacrosse world.
Chaotic's one way to put it. I think the most chaos that happened was Loyola beating number 2 Maryland 12-7. Loyola scoring 4 of the 5 goals in that fourth quarter to take home that win. That's winning lacrosse. Then Vermont upsetting Boston University after playing Syracuse very tough recently.
And how about Tucker Dordovic's Georgetown Hoyas falling to unranked Johns Hopkins, no less?
Team Syracuse will play pretty soon. And then Duke, out of the ACC, losing to Jacksonville. They typically tend to struggle in those non-conference matchups. They do again.
You mentioned that Maryland loss. The Orange get the Terps next week in College Park. Maybe a get them while they're down type game. A quick try off transition for Holy Cross, but Will Mark, another nice save made. It was the face-off man Naso who won it cleanly and then let it fly, but Mark up to the task.
He's been so good. Like, such a luxury for Syracuse this year. Last season, between Harrison Thompson, Bobby Gavin, there really wasn't ever an answer. In Syracuse's game against North Carolina in mid-April, those two were still switching and swapping who was going to start each game. This year, it's Will Mark's job, and there's no debate about it.
Mark's coach, Eric Wolf at LIU, said all he talked about was Syracuse during his time at LIU, and now does come over and is doing great things for the Orange in Cage.
Well, he's always felt that he's been the underdog. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. While playing at the smaller New York University, he probably thought he was more suited to play at the big one, in Syracuse here in the ACC.
Crusaders got to hurry. 5 on the shot clock. Can they make something happen? Marmo, 1 on the timer. He doesn't know it, and that's a shot clock violation. Poor awareness from Holy Cross.
It's been the case a couple of times in today's game because they're taking more of a passive approach, letting the clock run down. Syracuse keeps the pressure up, and Holy Cross just looks flustered. Great set, great possession by Syracuse's short stick defensive middies as well.
Orange up by 10. How much does Gary Gate and company want to keep their foot on the gas pedal? A Syracuse team that you just saw some of the ranked teams a moment ago is receiving votes and trying to get out to that 3-0 start.
I want to give a shout out to Vinny Trujillo, taking over the role of Brandon Aviles, who's injured today, looking great.
Thompson tried to go behind the back and dinged the post. Try number 2. Oh, it nips the nylon. Joey Spallina, how do you make it look so easy? SU up 11.
Wonder if his dad had him picking up the trash as a kid, because that's what he does here. Stays open from 15 yards away and finds the top cheddar with a step-down shot. He's not only someone that can finish in tight, close around the crease. Nice feed by Hales as well, shoveling it over to him. Finding the top right corner, and great placement too, going off stick high. Off the first opportunity from Thompson, who banged it off the pipe. Leads to Spallina, he does the rest.
4th goal on the day for Spallina. Remember, he had 5 goals last time out in the win over UAlbany. And John, those 4 goals today coming on just 5 shots. Efficiency, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, he had 5 goals on 7 shots in the last game against UAlbany. Only 1 goal on 15 shots in the opener. I think that's been the biggest difference for him from game 1 to now game 3.
A scrum off the face-off goes Syracuse's way.
Yeah, loose ball push on Holy Cross. And again, I think that was Vinny Trujillo getting involved. How good has he been as a freshman? I mean, that's a big spot to step into. Short stick defensive midi, being on the wing on the face-offs as just a freshman. That's a tough spot to fill. He's done it very well.
Roa down low for Hiltz, dragging his defender with him. Up top for Griffin Cook. Now Luke Roa, the freshman, gets it right back. The second line midi.
Here's something, Johnny. 11 assists today on the 13 Syracuse goals. That's what I was talking about earlier. It seemed like last year Syracuse has predicated its offense on Tucker Dordovic, Brandon Curry, Owen Siebold, one-on-one dodging. This year it's about using all 6 guys all across the field.
A team-type approach. That's what Alex Simmons said after the win over UAlbany when he had 4 assists. A laser of a shot denied by Friars. High-quality look, but better quality save.
Yeah. And that was Simmons again from pretty far away. If he wants to make any kind of individual improvements, I think his shot choice placement and accuracy is what he needs to work on going forward. I already talked about his dip in shooting percentage so far this season as compared to last. That's the biggest thing he needs to change as Syracuse approaches ACC play. And some tough non-conference opponents, too, going forward.
Here comes McIntyre again. He's stonewalled by Clary. I mentioned that non-conference opponent, alluding to Maryland next week, John. By far the toughest game the Orange will have played so far this year. Here's McIntyre. A quick first step, but a nice recovery by Clary. Rotated around now for Michael Bonomo, the freshman, the New Jersey native. Over to the far side for William Stahl. Orange defense has been oh so solid all day long. Only the 2 goals allowed.
Well, Johnny, watch the shot clock. Holy Cross is letting it dwindle every single possession and gets themselves in tough positions with just like 5 seconds. Now they got to go, like right here.
Not doing themselves any favors. Down 11, 3 on the timer. Got to hurry, and another shot clock violation. How about this Syracuse defense? Unbreakable at this point.
Unbreakable, or like a moat around a castle. They're just not letting Holy Cross even come close to threaten to even shoot on Will Mark. So all they have to then do is shovel it out of bounds and get back on defense. It's been unbelievable. The Orange well on their way to holding another opponent to 10 goals or less. They're on a bit of a string here.
Syracuse, should they hold Holy Cross to under 10, it will be the first time since the end of the 2019 season they've held teams to under 10 for 3 games in a row. Thompson down low on the doorstep and finishes. Thompson buries it home, number 4 on the day, and it's all Syracuse inside the dome.
This guy, Finn Thompson, must live in the slot. What I'm most impressed about is how he knows where to be when the ball's getting rotated around. Beats his defender inside, catches, and finishes. He's so crafty. That's a tough shot to score. You're right on the precipice of the crease. You got to avoid your foot touching the paint there. He knows that. He has the wherewithal to take maybe one cradle and put it in the back of the net.
Thompson only had 1 goal through the Cuse's first 2 games. He's got quadruple that today alone.
And another assist on a goal.
A win for Johnny Rakusa, the brand new Syracuse faceoff man. No more Jacob Fopp, part of a crew of seniors that all essentially went out together, let's call it. Tucker Dordovic, of course, Brendan Curry, and Rakusa, a new face that has some big shoes to fill in terms of Fopp, the veteran, no longer being here. 9 for 19 on the day so far is Rakusa from the dot. Cook's a veteran. He has it right now over for Hiltz on the give and go. Kirst fires and misses.
I haven't seen Kirst take a shot with his offhand, which is his right hand, yet. That one looked very good. This is important, Johnny. You've got to have 2 very solid midfield lines. Not only good at the top with the Michael Leos of the world and whatnot, you got to have a good second line as well if you're going to beat these non-conference teams and perform well in the ACC.
Orange need to hurry. Spallina, doorstep. Friars meets him.
How about the catch by Spallina there? That was a whiz of a pass. I don't know how he caught it. And then Spallina with the ability to catch and then get a shot off, too.
Quarterback heave up ahead from Friars towards the net. It's on the doorstep, right into the stick of Will Mark, who fires it right back. 14-2, that's our score as we hit the end of the third quarter. It's all Syracuse. 4 goals apiece from 2. And Powell will receive that recognition.
He'll become the second number 22 up in the rafters alongside Gary Gate. Just to know and put in perspective how good Powell was, Joey Spallina is the first freshman to wear the number 22 since he wore it back in 2001.
Another 22 now on the field for Syracuse. Spallina, of course, there you see head coach Gary Gate, his jersey up in the rafters, trying to impart his 22 wisdom onto Spallina, the freshman.
In 27 of the previous 37 seasons that somebody has worn number 22, that person has been an All-American. And that all started with Gary Gate back in '88.
A highly coveted number for the Cuse, and for good reason. They've got a 12-goal lead here on Holy Cross with a quarter to go, and not many positives to take away from a Crusader standpoint.
I'd say the one positive is on the other side of the field in Dawson Friars in net.
Can they get their third of the day here? A Crusaders team that did not win a game in Patriot League play a year ago at 0-8. It was a tough go for J.L. Reppert's crew. They do return a healthy bunch of seniors, but those seniors haven't really had their fingerprints all over this one, as the Syracuse defense really did their homework.
Oh, wow.
There's number 3, and it comes from Thomas McIntyre. His second of the day, his 10th of the year. And McIntyre, at least for the time being, gives the Crusaders a bit of momentum.
Well, I was about to say, I've been impressed by how much Thomas McIntyre and Dean Donano have been passive today instead of active. He was active here, though. Spins, gets his hand free, beats Landon Cleary one-on-one, and challenges Will Mark to really make a tough save going off stick side, off the turf as well. Nice skipper.
Well, at some point, if you're down by 12 and you're your team's leading scorer, there's got to be a level of, all right, I'm going to do this myself.
Yeah, he scored 4 goals in the first 2 games each, 8 on the year, leads the team in shots, but he hasn't taken many today. That was only his 4th. He had 18 in the first 2 games combined, for perspective there.
Perhaps another chance here for the Crusaders. They set up shop with Cole Cradaville and feed McIntyre right away. Why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now it's Cradaville bringing it to the far side. McIntyre likes his matchup with Clary. Will he try it again? But from the opposite side, he shoots and misses high.
That on-ball defense has been great all day, affecting the passes, affecting the shots, making them go wayward. That's all because of where your stick is as a defender. It's on their wrists, it's on their hands. It's affecting kind of where that pass ends up, where that shot ends up. And usually it's not accurate when that's the case.
Syracuse defense that has been up to its A-game all day, despite playing 2 games this weekend. Let's not forget, Albany was back on Friday. That was only 2 days ago. A very quick turnaround for the Orange. It's their first 3 home game in 8-day stretch since back in 2013. But you wouldn't know it. Not a lot of tired legs out there based on the results. A sprawling Cradaville gets there in time to be closer to the ball and keep possession in Holy Cross's favor with 10 on the shot clock.
It's good individual effort, but still short shot clock.
Cradaville, dangerous cross-field feed. Mark with a sprawling save. Try number 2, not there because of number 88 in orange.
He's so good, Johnny. He does not get fazed by anything. There's a scramble for the ball. He doesn't know where it is. Next thing you know, he's making a kick save with his leg. He uses every part of his body, and of course his stick. He can save every kind of shot. I'm seeing shades of Drake Porter out there right now from Will Mark.
Of course, the former All-American goalie for Syracuse, Drake Porter. Playing in his final year 2 seasons ago before a question mark in net for the Cuse last season, and now Mark has that spot on lock. It is a goalie change as Harrison Thompson makes his way onto the field, and Mark receives a well-deserved ovation. Hiltz goes behind net for Spallina. Now the centering feed for Thompson. Tried to put it on a tee, but Thompson just missed it.
If you were to put last year's Syracuse team on the field with this year's Syracuse team, I don't think it would be close, and Will Mark has a lot to do with that in net.
Syracuse versus Syracuse?
Yes.
That'd be fun to watch.
Yes. Just kind of imagine that. Because 2 differing styles.
Right.
The style that Syracuse is playing on both sides of the field, and what they're getting with Will Mark between the pipes is winning lacrosse in this day and age of the sport.
Well, let's talk staying fresh here, John, because mention the 3 games in 8 days. Head coach Gary Gates saying, yeah, look, we've actually practiced a little bit less. More of our emphasis has been on film sessions and sitting down in front of the whiteboard and working on the lacrosse IQ and using that for just as much practice as actual drills on the field, and that's paid dividends. Donano trying to make something happen, and Harrison Thompson makes his first save of the day.
I think the stuff in the classroom not the school classroom, but the lacrosse classroom is just as important as the lifting weights, the strength training, and the speed training, because you need to know where your slides are, you need to know how to run the offensive sets, and you need to practice your stick skills. So I think focusing more inside the classroom rather than on the field is beneficial for this Syracuse team, because, hey, they had great athletes last year. I mean, Tucker Dordovic, Brendan Curry were unbelievable, both All-American players. What they didn't have is the team aspect. They've gotten that more this year.
They also hired a brand new strength coach in Tony Pedrati, who has worked wonders in that department as well, implementing a couple of new styles, new strategies as far as staying healthy, staying fresh, avoiding injuries, what have you. Down low, Griffin Cook whips it in on net, but Friars is there. Oh, how about the release from Griffin Cook and the save by Dawson Friars?
Pretty easy save for Friars because it was a high-to-high shot, but pretty solid move by Cook to get his hands free, if nothing else. He's had a really interesting career at Syracuse. I'm curious to see if he can make some improvements at midfield this year and earn a little more shine that he used to have when he was a freshman back in 2019.
Of course, has bounced back and forth between attack and midi. How difficult is that in terms of bouncing around positions? We talk about Syracuse playing that positionless type offense. Is that something that benefits a guy like Cook the most?
I'm not sure, because Cook used to play X in this offense, and it's a lot different dodging from behind the goal against the defenseman rather than a short stick from, say, the wings or up top. So it's a transition you can make, but it's very difficult, especially when you're used to dodging from behind and feeding along the crease. I don't think the transition has gone very well for him, but there's just no playing time for him to have with Spallina back there. I guess there could have been last year, but Pat March just didn't want to use him there.
An ambitious pass from Lambert ends up in the stick of Donato, and he can't bury it in. Did ding the post, though, so a shot clock reset. But the Crusaders really need to hurry if they want any chance at making their mark on this thing. Down by 11 and under 9 to go.
If nothing else, Johnny, from a broad strokes perspective, last year's game to this year's game, you see a whole lot of improvement with this team. The ferocity, the fight, the defense has been great. If nothing else, Dawson Friars has been excellent in goal for this team. So big improvement from last year to this year for J.L. Redford's crew.
Well, I think you would say the defense is the biggest improvement, right?
Yeah.
You think about the 28 goals a year ago, half of that here today, at least so far. We'll see if Syracuse can change that.
Well, I just think that Friars has a lot more to do with that than the defense as a whole, because he has 14 saves in this game.
Carter Kempney, Blake Earlbeck out there on the field now for Syracuse as Gary Gate dips a bit further into his bench, and some of the reserve players that you might expect to see in a double-digit game with under 8 to go. Kempney, the freshman.
It's a big spot for these guys because, hey, you want a rehearsal at earning a second line nod? This is your chance right here to show the coaches what you can do in a game-like scenario.
John Cohen out there now as well. Orange mixing and matching, trying a few different things. Here's Brett Tenaglia, behind the back shot, and it's, just a bit too high. Boy, would that have been a thing of beauty. And it was Blake Earlbeck who tried to make it happen, and a solid look, just a couple inches too high.
Seen a lot of BTBs in this game, a couple of pipes too.
All Syracuse, 14.
You have a game against Hofstra. So 4 games in a row, bang, 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 that are really going to test you. But what helps Syracuse, Johnny, is that you've already got 3 games, that you've played, and you played the back-to-back America East champion in Vermont. So you've played a team of pretty high caliber, but you're going to see 4 in a row that are very difficult.
And head coach Gary Gates saying that this year there was a bit more purpose when it came to that schedule. First season since 2011 with 15 games, and really kind of structured it in a way that he felt would work and be beneficial for a younger Syracuse program. For me, at least, what stands out, interesting to see, John, that you don't really see a crazy ACC gauntlet. You get Duke and you get Carolina soon, but then there is that non-conference buffer, albeit tough teams, kind of sandwiched in between there before you go conference foes pretty much the rest of the way.
Well, they kind of had that last year, too. They played a midseason game against Stony Brook, which you and I were at. Then they get back to ACC play, which I think helps. You see some different styles of lacrosse. You can work on some stuff against some lesser competition in the ACC.
Syracuse trying to make something happen with its reserves on the field right now. The shot wide left. Had to come, though, with only 5 on the timer. Tyler Cordes out there now for the Cuse. Joined by John Cohen, who we mentioned earlier, but flag sort things out here for the time being.
Cordes, the one that drew that infraction with the shot, so Syracuse should be EMO for the next 30 seconds, maybe a minute.
Blue 43, 1 minute, illegal body check. 1 minute, 60 on the clock, thank you.
Does go against Miles Jackson, the junior defender, with just a bit too much body.
Yeah, Cordes catches, keeps possession, kind of flips it up to himself, spins off of a hit there. That's the one that draws the infraction because it was to his back and not the side of the front. And now Syracuse back with the extra man offense.
And they can reset, and Spallina just taps it home. Number 5 on the day for number 22. Second straight 5-goal game for the freshman, and Syracuse is up 12.
Well, a lot of the starters are on the bench, but that first line extra man offense stays in the game. Owen Hiltz uses his eyes to confuse the defense, and Holy Cross leaves the most dangerous man on the field wide open again.
11 goals on the year now, and really the young career, let's call it, for Spallina. The number 1 recruit in the nation, living up to every bit of that billing early on in the 2023 season.
I think he's a lock for Tewaaraton Award watch list in terms of the mid-season list when it comes out, because he's scoring at a prolific rate, and he is someone that doesn't just score goals, Johnny. We've seen him very good on the ride. He's passed, he's shot and scored from 15 yards away. Joey Spallina can do it all.
Barrett White and Kalen Lewis play catch. It's White with the ball here. His team up by 12, and that clock only shrinking further and further. Blake Borges down the left wing. Syracuse gearing up for what should be a very intriguing battle next weekend in College Park against Maryland when the Orange hit the road for the first time this season. Here's Donato in transition. Chance for the Crusaders. Now to the far side, behind the back pass, off the post. McIntyre, an ambitious look, and just missed.
How about the feed, too, from Matt Major? But Harrison Thompson benefits from the iron. Should be a cross-check, though, on John Cohen back on this side of the field. He turns it over, and then kind of a frustration penalty just pushing over the Holy Cross player.
Syracuse swaps out numbers.
Same guy, number 81 with a push, technical, 30 seconds.
And it is indeed Cohen who is the perpetrator.
So now Holy Cross a chance to work on its extra man offense. Another look at that cross check. Just on the back, and you have possession there, so you just can't do that. For Syracuse, a chance to work on its man-down defense, which forced a turnover last time it was on the field, but then got scored on back when it was 6-on-6 early into that next possession. Let's see if the Orange can get that turnover, Johnny, and then clear the ball successfully. They didn't do that last time.
The playmakers still out there for Holy Cross for the most part in terms of the top-line guys. With a player up, makes sense. Shot wide to the left.
Some other guys that play for the Syracuse defense on the man down as well. Billy DeWan, who's a freshman, he gets in there. And Jordan Beck as well. 2 freshmen getting rolls early with the Syracuse defense.
And it's worth noting, it's tough to replicate those real game reps. It's one thing to do it in practice, but for some of those younger guys that are vying for playing time, sure, this might be a 12-goal game with 4 minutes to go, but meaningful minutes nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. It's a rehearsal for guys to get on the second line if they play well. On both sides of the field, really. Syracuse, great job there defensively. No shots even.
McIntyre with 5 on the shot clock. He sticks it. There's not a lot that Thomas McIntyre can't do. Makes this a 15-4 game, just over 4 minutes to go.
So the tough thing about that is when you have a lot of freshmen in your man-down defense, they then have to stay on the field and then play the 6-on-6 possession if it continues. That's what happened here. Jordan Beck, who hasn't seen a lot of time outside of the man-down, gets beat upfield. He allows McIntyre to get his right hand free. You got to keep your stick kind of to the outside there and in front of McIntyre to take away that righty shot. And in that situation, Beck didn't do it. And McIntyre, the goal scorer, does what he has done all season.
Make it a hat trick for McIntyre. who's up to now 11 goals on the year. By far the biggest bright spot for Holy Cross, at least as far as the stat sheet is concerned.
Violation of the Crusaders on the faceoff. Their second such violation.
John, are there any positives you can take away here from a Crusaders standpoint as far as finishing these last 4 minutes strong?
Well, for the first 30 minutes or so of this game, I would say the bright spot was Dawson Friars.
Right.
I think Thomas McIntyre's looked good. He's dodged well for Max, hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities because Syracuse's on-ball defense has been electric all game long. But if nothing else, that's been pretty solid. And I think they've done a better job in the second half of cleaning up those turnovers. They had 14 in the first half. The ball movement's been a lot more precise in this half, and it's led to more chances.
Will Messinio out there now seeing some run for this Crusaders team. It's with Major. Rotates it up top for Sheehan. Putting the moves on. Locates his man. Messinio up ahead. Again, Holy Cross taking their time. Sheehan tried for the bouncer, but it was wide. Crusaders closest to it. But yet again, John, deep in that shot clock. Don't necessarily have the luxury of working with time, but it doesn't matter for Will Messinio. He's reared up and makes it a 10-goal game.
That's a great take there. One-on-one, recognizes the short shot clock situation. Messinio in his left hand beats Michael Page, just vertically really, and bounces it home short side. If you're Harrison Thompson, you have to be hugging that pipe, but even if you do that, Messinio goes 5-hole. Great placement.
Messinio, the freshman, seeing some run here towards the end of the game, and for the time being, giving Holy Cross something noteworthy from an offensive standpoint. After all, only 5 goals all day for the Crusaders. Mention those real game reps, John, as far as these younger Syracuse defenders are concerned. Same could be said for Harrison Thompson, right? Backup goalie, Will Mark doing his job. Give Thompson some run, someone who played last year, struggled at times, splitting time pretty much 50-50 with Bobby Gavin. And now Thompson, who drops back into more of that reserve role, still with a chance to impact the game here and see some minutes.
And he was the understudy to a guy we've already mentioned, Drake Porter, who was an All-American. Pretty solid backup to have in Harrison Thompson because he did get a lot of time last year, started a handful of games, had some solid outings at some points, really struggled in others. So chance to get back on the field and see what kind of improvements he's made.
Kempney shoots and was denied, the number 44 recruit in this year's class. A highly touted Syracuse freshman class, and they've taken no time to acclimate themselves to the collegiate lacrosse game, but another transition goal for Holy Cross out of nowhere. The Crusaders have tacked on a couple more. It's Brendan Lane this time around, and he tips momentum in the Crusaders' favor.
The Orange just late getting back on defense, and Johnny, that's the difference between Will Mark and Harrison Thompson. Their ability to locate, find the ball, and save bounce shots. That's well done by Brendan Lane, deploying that kind of a shot, because Harrison Thompson struggled to stop those all of last season, and it seems like those struggles have carried over into this year. So if you're a Syracuse fan, don't panic, because you've got Will Mark, your starter, who will typically save that shot, but it's clear that that's why Syracuse had to go to the transfer portal and find a different goalie to stop shots like that.
So make it 2 freshmen now in the latter portion of this game for Holy Cross with goals. Will Messinio and Brendan Lane, 2 guys that don't really see a ton of run, but a noteworthy moment for them in their young careers.
Well, you talked about wanting bright spots if you're Holy Cross. There's 2 more right there. And now, Johnny, we got the same scoreline we had in the 2021 matchup.
A 15-6 final 2 years ago before that 28-5 outburst. Cohen on the lefty doorstep. Couldn't put the exclamation point on it, and a whistle. Hawks play with under 90 to go.
Loose ball push on Syracuse. You talk about that move. Very well done. Cohen's somebody that transferred in from Johns Hopkins. Had the ability to do that kind of thing. Came over with Coach Petramala, kind of, if you will, in a package deal. Flashed it there.
7-second differential between shot and game clock here for the Crusaders. Just trying to get one more as a formality at this point on a day that has been dominated by the Cuse.
The talk's going to be all about the offense, too, probably. 35 goals now in the last 2 games, but that defense just continues to stand up and make stops. This would be now the 70th straight game that Syracuse has held an opponent to 10 goals or less and won.
Here come the Orange in transition. Time for one more, perhaps. Maybe not.
Now that was Pete Fiorini, wide open far side, but the pass from Blake Earlbeck was on the wrong side shoulder, on the right shoulder of Fiorini rather than the left, his strong hand. And as a result, cruised out of bounds.
5 goals for Joey Spallina, 4 for Finn Thompson, Michael Leo with the pair as well. And the Syracuse offense had their fingerprints all over it, but the Syracuse defense holds Holy Cross to single digits as Thompson makes the save. Try number 2 is wide, and that stops us with a second to go. So Syracuse off to a 3-0 start for the first time since 2020, when the season was canceled after the Orange were 5-0 and the #1 team in the nation. But Syracuse rolls Holy Cross 15-6 to start 2023, a perfect 3-0.
Syracuse also now winners of 70 straight games when it holds its opponent to 10 goals or less. The Orange up 15-6 in this one, and that defense just continues to stagnate every team it sees.
Syracuse holds Vermont to 5 in the opener and Holy Cross to 6 in the 3rd game of the year. A lot to like offensively, a lot to like defensively, as the Cuse are out to a 3-0 start with a big game against Maryland looming next weekend. A big thanks to our entire production crew, for our producer, Kristen